good morning, afternoon, or evening, or Judgment Day, whenever you're watching. And welcome back to Ventura Studio with me, Dan. So today we're building the next piece of my upcoming Terminator-inspired diorama, and that's this battle-worn resistance Jeep from Terminator 2. You know, this one that gets completely obliterated by the HK aerial. So onto the model itself then, and I'll be using this Toyota Hilux model 135 scale by Meng. In Terminator 2 I think it's meant to be a Ford, but let's be honest, the Hilux would be the real truck of choice for the resistance. It is literally indestructible. I've seen this thing survive multiple real wars, explosions, and even Top Gear. First impressions? Meng have absolutely smashed it with this one. Great details, proper tyres, and a neat single piece body shell, and a very detailed undercarriage. Which brings me on to my original plan being to show you the full build of this, including the undercarriage, but after hours and hours struggling with it, I just decided to spare you the agony of having to watch me put it together. So instead, I focused on painting, weathering, and bringing it all to life. So for the interior, I wanted to go for that black, plastic, luxury look, as if this was someone's regular civilian truck from before Judgment Day, probably take it out to the lake on weekend. So I started off with a base of white, you know, this is going to be the sort of undercoated scuff markings, and then layered on some chip and medium. Followed by satin black for the top colour plastic. And then to activate the chipping effect, I laid on some water and went at it probably a bit too much with this toothbrush and toothpick. To the interior too, I wanted to add some extra little details that I haven't tried before. So I added some mud splatters and enamel washes because, you know, this resistance truck not going to be clean. And one thing I did try and do was show the seats as if they were sort of ripped up. So I used some toy stuffing, you know, those cuddly interior guts of teddy bears, and some PVA glue to mimic a bit of torn leather. You know, if you're fighting these Terminators, you're probably not too worried about seat comfort. Let me know in the comments how you think this interior turned out in the end. For some extra damage on the exterior, I grabbed my blowtorch to create some dents on the body shell, and they almost set the whole thing on fire, but you know, you can't make a battle-scarred truck without a few broken eggs, as the saying probably goes. Now let's get some homemade armour on this thing. So I used some 2-part epoxy to add some makeshift armour plates. Now I'm not sure how well welded steel really holds up against a phased plasma rifle, but you know, it looks pretty cool. And then I also smashed the windshield up because, you know, there's no way this hasn't been in a crash before. This resistance Jeep isn't complete without some resistance troopers. So I used these ICM IDF figures and a Legend Productions minigun to bring it all to life. So I primed these figures up in Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, and then base coated the face in some base flesh tones. Adding a second layer then, some light flesh tones. And I'm not going to go into too much detail about the faces here, as they are pretty much going to be covered up. But to make these figures more Terminator accurate, as you can see in this photo and this photo, they've got some like homemade armor, I want to call it, like shoulder armor, and obviously night vision goggles. So I decided to try and make these using some putty and an old hobby knife. One of these guys clearly had a run-in with a Terminator, or more accurately, the seats were too small. So off came the legs. Sorry, pal. Back to the Jeep itself then. I primed the upper body, again, Mr. Surfacer 1500 black, and painted the lights in. Now the fun part, the final weathering. So I layered on some different rust tones, dark for body work, lighter orange for the truck bed, and orangey rust for the welded iron bits. After that, I coated chip in medium to prep for its final destruction, which I brilliantly forgot to record. But it's the same method as the interior door panels. Top coat colour of black, or steel for the welded bits, and then just go crazy with a hard toothbrush, but not too crazy, which I probably did. Now for this model I really was keen on adding some lighting. I've not really added lighting to many models before, except the last video on the channel, but for this I needed some electrical resistors, not to be confused with the resistance, some LEDs and some electrical wire. After soldering them all together, I fed the wiring through the hood into some pre-made holes for the lights, and by pre-made I mean I drilled through the body earlier on in the process. Because nothing says DIY resistance engineering like some questionable jobs, and with all that done, I thought it was time to call cut. And so here it is, the Resistance Jeep from Terminator 2 Future War sequence. Now this battle-worn Jeep will be featured in my full Terminator diorama, which is either coming soon or already on the channel, depending on when you watch this. Will it be blown up? Will it survive? Will it be doing the blowing up? Who knows? Let's find out in that video. If you enjoyed this Terminator build, please hit like and subscribe to stick around for more movie or history inspired dioramas coming up. If you got any ideas for what I should take on next, please drop some ideas in the comments. And if you want a sneak peek at my inspiration for 2025, check out the channel trailer for a tease of all the builds planned for this year. See you in the next one. Hasta la vista, baby.